Oh,
I'm not allowed this way, mate. Sorry.
I can't help but look at your Crocs and think you're a Ninja Turtle.
Oh, Ben, what's the postcode for this one? 2019-20, isn't it?
Yeah.
Postcode?
Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah. He did say postcode, didn't he?
He did say postcode.
I think I know what I meant.
As long as you knew.
Right, that one recording. Yeah, put that away. Just press spacebar, mate, that's it.
Right, is my face
That's it.
on display? Do you know what? We did a podcast, one of them where the mic was there.
Oh no, the whole thing. What, nobody clocked on.
His idea was he was meant to come in and sit down and move. But no, he thought that's how it was meant to be.
Dean knows what he's doing. He's moved his mic.
He's been there, done that. Right, just shout when you're done, Dean. Other than that, you're live. Ready to go, guys. Crack on.
Alright, ready to go. Face there, look good.
Yeah,
No,
that's
you
all recording.
both look handsome.
Beautiful.
Like, super handsome.
Right, do you need anything? No, you're good.
Dean is showing you up though.
Yeah.
He's much more handsome in real life. I didn't realise how big he was. Quite a big dude. Leaving that in. Right, ladies and gents, welcome back to another Southend Dog Training podcast. And this week's guest is possibly the busiest dog walker that I know. His name's Dean, and he goes by the sober dog walker. So, welcome.
Nice, thanks for having me.
Is this your first podcast?
Not my first podcast, but it's my first podcast really about dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've done ones on my life story before, but never really continued it on to about the dogs. And
I thought that you'd done something because when we sat down, you've moved the mic right in front of you, and I was like, he's done this before. So obviously you go by the name Sober Dog Walker. So safe to assume you're still sober?
I am. I think just a bit less than you, 3 years and 3 months or something like that.
You're doing better than me. You're counting.
No, I try not to count too much, every day at a time, but yeah, just over 3 years and absolutely loving life.
That's wicked. So that's answered my question. Why did you get sober, if you don't mind me asking?
I didn't really have a choice. Life got really, really dark, which we'll go into in a bit of how I got there in the first place. But I tried so many other ways of trying to figure my life out, and in fact, sobriety was the option to understand myself and the reasons why I drank in the first place.
Yeah. How did you know that you had a problem?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't. I actually went along to a Cocaine Anonymous meeting because it wasn't just drink, it was drugs. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people have that hand in hand. And I went along with somebody else to support them and quickly realised, I think I need to do something about this. And then I was opened up to Alcoholics Anonymous. Mm-hmm. And I just accepted that I had a problem. I didn't accept initially, but once I actually surrounded myself with people who were recovered and recovering, I realised I wasn't alone, and just wanted a better life.
Yeah, it's funny because it's very much like myself. I didn't realise I was a problem. Didn't realise how many people around you that you're hurting and things like that. So I went to NA, and next door to one of the meetings was CA, and then you've also got AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, CA is Cocaine's Anonymous, and NA is Narcotics Anonymous. But it all pretty much circles around the same thing. Yeah. Now, was there a particular moment or something when you was there that the light bulb went off and you went, oh shit?
My first meeting, I went there, and there was only a few of us because it was the 27th of December, just after Christmas. And they're reading out this book, and it's the first time in my life that I actually thought they were reading my autobiography. It was, wow. I've never heard somebody say words that only I thought existed in my own head. And bear in mind, I was 35, 36 at the time. I thought I was the only person that thought that way. So, yeah, that's when I realised, A, I'm not alone, and B, there's a solution.
Yeah. So you went to CA to get help. And was you going there every day, or?
To begin with, I just went for the first meeting, and once I realised that it was helping me, I went every day.
Yeah.
I was homeless at the time.
Oh, really?
So 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, that Christmas, it was the Christmas before that, life was chaos. In fact, I actually woke up in a police cell on Christmas morning, because just that's where my life used to be. And I decided to not drink that Christmas. And but after that Christmas, the person who I was with at the time, it was all over, and I was by myself, and I was homeless, living in the car with my dogs. And but I decided to get sober, and I just went every single day, for as long as I could.
I think that's the important thing. That's what helped me massively, was going to NA and knowing there was a meeting 7 days a week, because it's the fact that there is a meeting means that, well, if I go here, that can keep me out of the pub. Yeah. If it gives you something to fill those evenings where normally it'd be fueled with like drugs and alcohol and things like that. What led you to start drinking and things like that? Because I know for me personally, it was very much started out as a Friday night, normal, get to the end of the working week, go out with the boys, and then the beers flow, then the lines flow, and then Friday night turns into Saturday night, turns into Thursday night, let's get this weekend started early, and then before you know it, it's a problem. But I didn't realise that there was a problem, and that the problem actually stemmed much deeper, and a lot of it was masking problems I didn't want to deal with. So what was your sort of early experience surrounding drugs and alcohol? What got you into drugs and alcohol ultimately?
I've tried to understand it. I've tried to go back as far as I can. There's only so much you can do, and I've gone back all the way to my childhood. And I think it's just comes down to not understanding emotions, not understanding how to deal with them. I always used to, if something wasn't going my way or I didn't understand it, I would react, and normally in a way that benefited me. So, for example, if I had a girlfriend at the time and it didn't work out, I'd go and find another one straight away. It would literally be that same day, just to make myself feel better and to overcome the emotion that was going on in my head. And then I found drink, and that helped. But I was brought up in France. We all moved to France as a family when I was 10. And at the age of 14, you in France, I'm not sure what it's like in England, you get pushed to what career you want to go down. And I always wanted to be a PE teacher. That was my dream, but my grades were no good. But I saw the advert for the army on TV, and bear in mind I was 14 at the time, and I asked my mum to send me to order in the VHS back then, and came back to England to go to the recruitment office, and I was basically running away. At 15, I left home to come back to England, live with my grandparents, and I joined the army. Didn't really understand why. I just couldn't get what I wanted as a PE teacher, so I just ran to the next thing, best thing for me. And then the drinking culture in the army is just like ridiculous. It's so acceptable. In fact, I was based here in Essex, in Colchester for a while, and we were going out like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It was just your accommodation was paid for, your food was paid for. It was just beer tokens, and that's what I learnt from a very young age. So when I left the army, that was still my way of living, and we were in the army. You fight a lot, and it's just part of the way of life. But then in the civilian world, that doesn't work out. But I was still had that mindset.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like it starts as like just the norm. And do you think that drugs and alcohol are far too sort of normalised in this day and age, particularly the alcohol? Like, I feel like every other TV on every other advert on TV at the minute is a new alcoholic drink or something like that. And when I look around, because this was me, when I'm having a good day, what do you do? Straight down a pub and celebrate. Let's crack a bottle open. And then if I was having a bad day, what do you do? Let's have a drink. I'm stressed. Yeah. And it becomes like a coping mechanism. It literally becomes like all you know. Which brings me to my next question. How do you think somebody could identify that they're possibly going down the wrong path, that they may need help? Like, because you said yourself that you didn't actually realise that you was until you took a friend to CA and then realised, holy shit, maybe maybe I need to sort my life out.
Yeah.
How does somebody watching, listening, decipher whether or not necessarily they might have a problem?
Yeah, I work alongside a charity called Alcohol Change UK, and we focus, especially at the beginning of the year, on the Dry January Challenge, and that just allows people to have a break, and you'll be surprised how many people can't do it. They can't get through 2 weeks. Literally, out of everybody that starts Dry January, by I think it's day 10, 68% of the people can't make it to the following weekend. And then I think it's just giving yourself a break. And if you are struggling, then you've got a problem. And you need to kind of understand why you're drinking in the first place. What's happening in order for you to need that drink to feel chilled out. Right? And I think a lot more people have an issue but don't want to accept it or don't recognise it because it's so normal. Like having a glass of wine every night is a problem. But people we see it on TV all the time. I'm watching a TV series at the moment called Yellowstone. I'm catching up on the whole thing.
Oh, it's fantastic.
But every single set, there's drink in it. Yeah. Every night they're having a drink, and there's whiskey, and it's normal. Yeah. And it's the way that we live.
Well, I'm watching a TV series at the minute called Billions, and again, same thing. Yeah. At the end of every day, they're still at the workplace and they're drinking. It's like. Then I was watching Sopranos, they're drinking. It's Yellowstone, they're drinking.
Yeah.
It is so normalised. But that's what I say, because for me it was living for the weekend at first. And I think if you're working purely Monday to Friday, particularly if you've got family and other commitments, but your go-to is I must go down to Boozer with my mates every Friday, and you've got a partner at home and kids at home, for me I think that's a slippery slope. If every Friday religiously you have to go to the pub with your boys, I think there could be a problem looming there. And as you said, if you can't go more than a few days a week, 2 weeks,
and another thing as well, it's looking around you. You are a product of your own surroundings, and if you're around people that's their lifestyle, you're going to become one of them. If you don't think you're there yet, you'll end up getting that guy at the end of the bar. That will be you one day.
Yeah. So I love that, firm believer in that, and it'll bring me on to my next question. For me, I had to cut a large portion of my life out, the people around me, and now I'm looking for the word, that I put a large portion of the success down to the people I surround myself with. If you want to do better in life, you need to surround yourself with people that have got similar mindsets, similar goals and things like that. Because if you are surrounded by people that are constantly negative, constantly trying to drag you down to their level, you will eventually get suckered into it. Because I did. I was in a relationship with my mates, who I thought were my mates. And it was when I was doing therapy. I had this one guy I'd been friends with for like longer than I've been married to my wife, longer than my kids have been alive. And he said, tell me something you do outside of drugs and alcohol. I can't think of a fucking single thing.
No, it was always
and then he's like,
life.
are you really friends? I'm like,
yeah.
But that had to go, that had to give. Did you find that you had to maybe cut some people out?
I had to, I'd pushed all the good people away. At the back end of my drinking and using, I'd pushed all the good, over the space of about 3 years, really, maybe more. I'd pushed all the good people away, and I'd attracted all the, I don't want to call them bad people, but they're people that are making wrong choices in life. And I just became one of them. So yeah, that's kind of where I ended up.
Yeah, that's so I saw a post you did on Instagram. And we've spoken before, and you said that dogs saved your life. What do dogs mean to you?
More than the word everything. They did save my life, and they continue to allow me to have a life worth living. I enjoy every single day picking up all my dogs, taking them to the farm, and just sitting there with them. And it's just like constant therapy, and I need it. I can't go. I can obviously go a few days without it, but it's my new kind of fix. being around the dogs, and yeah, they mean so much.
I don't watch too many dog trainers and things on social media, and it's not because I've got anything against them or anything like that. It's simply because I'm surrounded by dogs all day. I'm helping people, whether it's online or whether it's in person. So when I get home, I want my time to be all about my wife and kids, and things like that. So it's that reason why I tend not to follow other dog trainers and things like that. But when you see them flash up on your For You page and things like that, I think for me, when I saw you talking about dogs, I don't think I've ever seen anyone's face light up. Like, it's literally, like, it's written all over your face. Like, you can tell that everything that you say when you're talking about the dogs is so sincere and genuine, and that's what attracted me to wanting to bring you on here and wanting to have an actual conversation. Because sometimes you can look at a trainer or a dog walker talking about dogs and it's almost becomes robotic. It's like every day is like fantastic, and I love that. So how did you get into dog walking? How did it come about with dogs and things like that?
I'll go back a bit to when my life started to really go downhill, and it was over, like we were talking, why did I start drinking in the first place? Or what the emotions, I just didn't know how to deal with them, and that was from a young child. But as you get older, you don't just have one experience and that goes away and another one replaces it. They build up, and over the course of a couple of decades, I got to the age of 30. I was married. I had some good businesses, but I didn't have gratitude in my life. I was grateful for nothing, but I wanted everything. And I thought money was success, and I'd do everything and everything to get it, and I thought that would bring happiness, but I was just pushing everybody away, and I had no kind of drive other than that. My wife left me at the age of 30, and I hadn't actually touched a drug until the age of 30. And that's what a lot of people can't believe, and in fact I've spoken to a lot of people since, and it's happened to a lot of people, especially with cocaine. It's so addictive. And in my early stages of using, it was only a few lines here and there, and when you went to the pub, it was nothing. And I suppose that was for the first couple of years, so 32. And at the age of 32, I met a girlfriend who actually used herself, and that's just that's a recipe for disaster. So that ended not very well. And then my life just really started to nosedive, and all my businesses failed. That's when I started pushing a lot of good people out of my life. I got involved with the wrong people. I ended up doing a lot of wrong things in order to make a living. Nothing that I'm proud of, but I like to explain to people how quickly you can go from doing one small thing to doing some very, very bad things, but that becoming normal. And that's what my life became. Very bad things became normal. And I just couldn't cope anymore, and I got into this another very toxic relationship. I was abusive, and so was she. I was abusive from a physical side, and I'd smash the house up, and I'd always be causing chaos, and people would just look at me because people could see the things that were happening, but not hear the words that were being put in my ear. And words, they can kill you. And I couldn't cope anymore, and I tried to give up for about a year, but every month or so it'd get too much, and I'd go off on a bender, really bad ones, and it was just my life was getting really, really, really dark, and I'd end up using by myself, just sat there for days on end drinking, and the fun had finished. It was just, I was spiraling out of control, and I got to a point. It was a couple of months before I went sober, where I was at a pub. I think it was during COVID even, so it was a lock-in, and I had a load of drugs on me, and the police turned up, and I ran off. And I'd always had suicidal thoughts, but I'd never do anything because my dogs. I've got 2 little dogs, and they're literally the love of my life outside of my family. I love them to bits. And that night, the police came into the pub, and everybody dispersed, and I ran off. I came back about an hour later, and it had all calmed down, and the police had gone, and my dogs had gone. The police had taken my dogs, and they were the one thing that kind of kept me around. And I was obviously off my face. My dogs had gone. I can't explain how dark and how low I was. It just felt like I was in a dark hole and no way out. And I took myself to the woods and I hung myself that night. I used my belt, and I was gone. And it was the first time I felt peace in a long time. It was horrible. It was a very horrible place to be. And luckily I woke up because the belt snapped. And I was scared. I was so scared that I ran straight back to my friend's house. And you would have thought that would have been the last time that I would have used or drank. But there's something happened. Something switched inside me that this isn't the way forward. Yeah. If you to continue down this path, this is going to happen again, and it will happen. No, the belt won't snap next time. So a few months later down the line, that's where I got sober. And and this is what I try and explain to people: when you get sober, things happen so quickly. It was 20 days in. Like, I was living in my car to begin with my dogs. I just thought, what am I going to do? I can't go backwards. Mm-hmm. I can't go back to that life. What I was doing before in business, it was all around sales and money, and it's not. I can't deal with that right now. The person who I am can't deal with that stress. I got my dogs back. I never want to spend another day without my dogs, and I love the outdoors. I'm going to start walking some dogs. So I had a little Sitchin C3, and found this website where people are advertising for their dogs to be walked, and that's what I did. I started walking some dogs, and that's how the whole thing started.
See, it's funny because, again, the second you start talking about dogs, all of a sudden the smile just comes. It's absolutely great. What dogs were they?
I've got 2 Puggles.
Nice.
And the reason I got them, I got Pogo. You wouldn't expect.
I was going to ask.
There's a reason. I got Pogo, my first one. She's 17. We lived in a flat at the time, or my ex-wife and myself. We lived in a flat at the time, and I wanted a Hungarian Riesler. So always I wanted, but not the best first dog to have. But so we got a Puggle because I thought I could go running, and no, she wouldn't need to. But that didn't work out. She hates walking. And then I got another one because that's what we do, don't we? We get another one.
That'll make everything better.
Make it all better.
You know what? First dog's a bit of a nightmare. Second dog will definitely help. So disclaimer, I am joking. I know some people like to take things literal.
No, but I loved dogs. Have always been part of our family. My granddad was a gamekeeper. He was an amazing dog trainer. Mm-hmm. But no, I got dogs because everybody likes a pet, and there's no other reason for that. I just enjoyed the dogs. And now today it's a kind of different reason why I'd get another dog.
The thing is, I always ask people when they come here why the breed you did, but Puggles, I haven't seen a Puggle in ages. I worked with one ages ago. It was such a cool dog. They're really cool dogs.
They're cool. They're unique.
17 though. Any health problems or anything like that?
No, so I got a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. Oscar, the 50. I don't know if you see Oscar on my Instagram. I've got a little motorbike, and he does a kilometre in 3.5 minutes. So he'll run in front of the bike, and he's the quickest dog that we've got in the pack. I haven't taken him to the vets or Oscar. I don't think he's ever been to the vets apart from his jabs. Yeah.
Well, what we do is, for the guys watching, we'll put up pictures of Oscar and everything like that. That's what we do. We'll take a deep dive and things we talk about. We'll put up so at least the audience watching will be able to see, which I think is really, really cool. So that's what got you into dog walking. How many dogs do you walk?
More than I should. As long as the council aren't watching.
Let's hope not.
No, did you know I've got a good relationship with them. I do have somebody else working with me sometimes, but when I first started dog walking, I was just a dog walker. I don't want to say a standard dog walker because it's a very reputable job. and but walking dogs on a local common, and it didn't work for me. I don't know how people do it, so I needed some private land. So now I've got my own land. I can have 20 plus dogs at a time off the lead, all getting on. It's taken a long time to get them to work together, but yeah, we normally have about between 15 and 20 a day.
A day?
Yeah. I've got 175 dogs now.
See what I mean? Busiest dog walker
I started off with
in
0.
the world.
and yeah, it's just grown, and I don't advertise.
No.
I only have Instagram. In fact, some of my clients don't even have my telephone number. They found me through Instagram. Because when I started, I just wanted to showcase that you can come from a very dark place, and that was my Instagram. That's what my profile is all about. It's not about just dogs. It's about real life, and showcasing that you can come from a dark place and still, see light, and do okay. And that's what it's all about, really. It's not just about dog walking. It's just about putting a smile on people's faces. What I want people to do is press on that story and smile. That's my kind of motive with that page. Yeah.
So, what sort of things do you do with the dogs? Because when I first started, not many people know this, but I used to do dog walking. But it wasn't, as you say, your sort of conventional dog walking. Yeah. So it wouldn't be, right, we're just going to walk around the streets or take a group. I used to focus very much on taking reactive dogs and putting them together, and focusing very much on that pack mentality, teaching dogs how to be socially existent with each other and learn manners, and we'd call it almost like walking trains, if you will. So and that's very, very fun. So what sort of things do you do with the dogs on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, to begin with, it was just trying to stop them not killing each other. That's what at the early stages of dog walking, because I had no experience in mass dog walking, but now, over the years, it's exactly that. I've learned so much from dogs to teach me about humans. Humans are pack animals as well, and so I now take dogs that are anxious, slightly reactive, and we've got such a good pack. There's all good dogs, and we put them in our pack, and you can turn a reactive, anxious dog good if it's in a product of its own surroundings, like us.
Power of the pack.
Yeah, and that's what I use now, the power of the pack. But it's taken time to get there.
I absolutely love that, because I don't think these days, like, if you go and spend 5 minutes in a dog park, it's chaos. It's the dogs are running over to each other that have never met. They don't know how to say hello. They're just going straight into play or jumping on each other. It's literally, if you want to learn what bad body language is, what bad behaviour is, go and get yourself an ice cream, sit on a bench in a park and watch it. But put a pack of dogs together, and you have a stable pack of dogs. You can take an insecure, anxious dog that's a mess, and that energy of the pack, the power of that pack, will help it so much. It's one of my favourite things in dog training is putting dogs together.
It's incredible.
And you'll learn, as you said, you learn so much more from dogs than you will from any textbook. Dogs are the best teachers. If you shut up and listen, they will teach you. We talk too much to dogs, but I remember vividly, I had Sammy, and I hadn't been training dogs that long, like Sammy, the dog that started it, my Staffy, and I'm working with this Lapahar bulldog, and he doesn't like other dogs, and he was giving me nothing, no signals, no nothing. He's standing next to his owner, and I'm looking at him, and he just looks absolutely fine. He's given me none of the usual signals. He's not staring, he's not licking his lips, his body language isn't tense, the tail's not in the wrong position or anything like that. He just looked cool as a cucumber. But I'm like bringing Sammy closer to him, because the guy was like, he normally reacts by now, and he wasn't. So I'm bringing Sammy a little bit closer, and Sammy slammed on her brakes. She don't want to move, and I'm like, this isn't right. I'm like, come on, what's wrong with you? And as soon as I ushered her forward, that's when the dog lunged. Now he didn't get to her because the distance was fine, but she didn't want to move. She could see something that I couldn't. And after that, I was like, I'm always going to listen to you. Always going to take you.
Yeah.
And I did. And I took her lead a lot. Like, if I had a troublesome dog, Sammy would be the first one to come out. And she'd let me know straight away how that dog is. If she wanted to give it a wide berth, then she knew that this dog needed a bit of space. And that helps so much with your learning how you're going to treat that dog. Yeah. If she goes straight over to it, it means that dog is all right with having a little bit of pressure put on it and stuff like that. So just taking the lead from a well-balanced, stable dog, or the power of the pack. It's fantastic. What sort of dogs have you got in
I've got everything you could, I've had a Chihuahua to a Great Dane, and everything in between.
Yeah. What dogs do you have in that pack that you're taking out?
Literally everything. Yeah. I don't have the Chihuahuas anymore, but I suppose the smallest dog is a Bichon, and then to a Great Dane, and they all get on.
Yeah.
They all get on, and I've got dogs that their owners can't walk. They're reactive. But in the pack, absolutely fine, and people can't really understand that. But it's in a pack mentality, it's completely different to being on a lead with its owner, with another dog approaching across the road. It's completely different when they're.
How much do you think the owner influences the dogs when it's on a lead?
All of it, all of it. Literally, I see my owners in all of the dogs.
Yeah,
and everything they tell me that where they struggle with their dog, I see it in them. I see the anxiety, I see the overprotected, I see it all. It's them. And I'd say that to their face.
They're human lie detectors, right?
Yeah.
Dogs are.
Yeah.
Right, because I've had people come to me with their dog and they're like, I'm doing all this, I'm doing all that. I'm like, why are you lying to me? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, your dog's grassing you up. They're like, what? I always tell people, give me 20 minutes with your dog, right, without you there, and I'll tell you exactly what this dog does in your house, how it lives. Like, is it allowed on the sofa? Does it beg when there's food around? Like, you spend time with someone's dog, it will literally grass you up on everything.
And it's no fault to the owner, especially if they've had a reactive dog and they're anxious. It's hard to get over that anxiety. So when they come to somebody, a pack, or come to somebody, you haven't had that experience, so it's a lot easier for us to kind of relax the dogs. But it all comes down to the owners. Yeah.
The thing is, and nobody purposely screws up their dog. Like, let's be honest, the clients that are coming to Southend dog training, I had one just yesterday. She loves the dog. It's her absolute world. You cannot say this dog doesn't get enough love and affection. No. It's spoiled. But I think a lot of owners don't realise that all of that emotional baggage put on the dog, all of that spoiling them, talking to them, stroking them constantly, but without actually asking them to do something, without teaching them how to behave, how crippling that is. And I always tell people, because they get emotional, I'm like, it's fine. Like, nothing can't be undone. But yeah, it's just people, they're not purposely doing it. They're doing everything with the best of intention. Even down to when you go to a dog park, once your puppy's had its vaccinations, you're doing that with the best of intention, not realising that your puppy's going to get traumatised very, very quickly if you keep letting dogs run over to it, or it's going to run into trouble if you keep letting it run over to other dogs. But no, I also tell people, obviously you see it with the dogs, but if you get a chance to spend with a group of dogs, watch a well-balanced group of dogs behave, you'll learn a lot about dog interactions. That's how I try to base a lot of my training, is how dogs will communicate with each other. Now, I don't go around sniffing their asses or anything like that. I'm not. I don't wait for the dog to piss on a lamppost and then follow it round. But it is, if you just stop, and this is something that can help a lot of people, for example, think something as simple. One of the most common issues people will message me or want help with is their dog jumping up, whether it's at them when they come in the house or guests. But then you have to look at how humans greet the dog. So, for example, if you come in the house, "You right, baby? How you been? Have you missed me? I've missed you." And the dog's jumping up. But if you then take the same dog and you put it around another dog, and watch how they greet. How do dogs say hello? They sniff each other's backside. They're calm. It's silent. And then if they're compatible, then they can go into play and stuff like that. If a overexcitable, overly friendly cockapoo, for example, goes running over to a confident dog, but instead of saying hello, starts jumping all over it, what's going to happen? What would happen in that pack? It's going to get told off. It's going to mind your manners, mind your space. But what do humans do? Hello, how are you doing? and then wonder why the dog's so like this. So I tell people, when you meet a dog or even your own dog, come in, ignore it, let it use its nose first, let it sniff you, let it do that natural dog behaviour. Then, after that, then talk to the dog if you want to, then interact with the dog if you want to. I think if people was to actually study how dogs interact with each other, balanced dogs, they could learn a lot about how their behaviour is affecting the dog for the better or worse.
Yeah. Oh, so if I was really energetic around 15 dogs, a fight
Chaos.
it allows me to be so calm around the dog. I have to be calm all day, and it's incredible. If you are, it's all about the energy.
Mm-hmm. I think humans struggle with energy a little bit because we are very much physical and seeing. Like, you can't really see energy that much. Like, it's there, it exists. You walk into a room with 10 people that are pissed off without saying a word, you'll get consumed by it. If you're pissed off and you walk into a room with 10 people that are happy, chances are you could start to gravitate towards that energy. But because we talk a lot, it's okay, don't worry, come here, heal, because we vocalise stuff, and because we see it, a lot of the time we don't really see the energy. And it is, if you want excitement, create excitement. But if you've got an excited dog and you want that dog to calm down, you can't match it with excitement. You have to calm down. If you want a pack of dogs to stay neutral and balanced, you better stay bloody calm, because if you start running around and going, it's okay, I love you, it's all going to go horribly wrong.
That's what I've learned. That's how I understand how dangerous dogs can be, and any dog. If you work with dogs long enough, you're going to experience something at one stage. And I think a lot of people are very naive, and they don't understand how dangerous dogs can be, and any breed. I do not walk my dogs there's a great park near us, right next to where my field is, and I hear dog fights on a weekly basis, and I hate it.
Have you ever had to break up a dog fight?
Yeah, I nearly lost my finger.
Oh, really?
All that went, and then that was a Labrador. All of the fault to my own, all my fault. Yeah. Learned a massive lesson. Didn't know how to break up a dog fight, so I nearly lost my finger.
What did you do?
I started watching your Instagram, and now I know how to do.
Oh, right. Let's elaborate. I mean, what did you do when you tried to break up the dog?
Oh no!
I watched your Instagram and nearly lost my finger.
No, no. To be honest, the situation, I did everything I could, but sometimes things happen in split seconds, and I had 2 dogs, and it was just me, and it's amazing how quickly things can happen.
Problem is, dogs, mouth, teeth, skin goes through like a knife through butter.
Literally, this one here. It was just I had a Labrador, a bitch who was just coming out of season, or she'd come out of season, but there's always a week before and a week after. And she was playing with one of our other dogs, and they're always very playful, but it was just getting a bit too much for my liking. The energy was getting up a bit too much, so I just kind of got in between them, and all I did was push her back end out, and she just went for my arm. Well, didn't go for my arm. She just. And I had a hoodie on at the time. I didn't think anything of it because it was just a little scratch. And I kept on walking, nothing, and then blood started to appear, and I took it off, and it was horrible. But that can just happen like that.
Yeah, I started a dog fight once. Again, my mistake. Yeah, playing fucking Tug of War with a dog, and it was Staffy. I've lifted it off the ground like that because you can do that with Staffies. Like, they love Tug of War. Another dog's come underneath it, and as I put her down, that energy has just collided. And when the dogs are like that, and I got bit on the thumb. That was a little fucker. Just grabbed the dog. But again, you learn. That single moment there taught me, look, if I'm going to play Tug of War, I'm probably not going to do it when there's a bunch of dogs around, because that adrenaline in which a dog will put into playing Tug of War, which is a perfectly acceptable game, by the way, as long as you've got rules to it. It's great to teach fetch. It's great to get some of that pent-up energy out. You can teach leave it through Tug of War, impulse control through Tug of War. I really love it. But you have to be careful if you've got a multi-dog household, or if you're going to play it where there's potentially other dogs around, because that energy is contagious and it will start to attract other things. And then when a dog is in this state like that, and something hits it, it can quickly then...
It's scary how quickly it can happen.
Yeah, so...
especially if you've got 5 or 6 dogs, or your dog walker meeting up with another dog walker. It's just, things can happen so quickly.
Yeah, like, honestly, one of the most scariest things people ever deal with is a dog fight, and this is why we put out so much information about how to prevent it and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously, inevitably, if you're putting reactive dogs together and packs of dogs together at some point somewhere.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my early stages, I was quite naive myself. I mean, this one, where I nearly lost my finger, it was something I do on a regular basis, like every day. I've got crates in the back of the van, open some of the crates up, some of the dogs get out, and then I let some others out. And this one was just about to jump out the van, and another one came up, and it was a staffy, and it got it.
And that's the thing. I mean, what I try to teach clients is, if you make a mistake, use it as a learning curve.
Absolutely.
Like, because you can have textbooks out there and courses and everything, and it doesn't matter how many courses you do, how many textbooks you read, nothing prepares you for the real world. I see a lot of dog trainers out there that have all the knowledge, but not very good at applying it. Because everybody wants to be a dog trainer until you're looking down the barrel of a German Shepherd frothing at the mouth that if you're move the wrong way, it wants to nail you. But it's learning from experience. I got a scar on my hand from a boxer, and that was my fault. Never done the same thing again. This dog was human reactive, did a whole session with it. It was really good. Didn't react to me once. In fact, by the end of the session, it was accepting belly rubs for me. But then, right at the end of the session, we'd called the session. It was done. We'd had a really productive session. Always like to finish on a high. Put the dog back in the car. And then the client asked about muzzles. I've got a couple of muzzles. Can you see which one's right for the dog? Now, it's in the back of the car. It is nervous of people. It is reactive to people. And we've just had a really productive session. The dog now wants a nap. So I go, come here, and I get a muzzle, go and put it on the dog. And you can see he's a bit stressed, but I ignored it because I want to please the client. Yeah, this was back in my early days. I want to please the client. So dog accepts it, but the muzzle was a bit small. So can I take a look at the other one? As I went to put it on, the dog just grabbed my hand. Now, learning from that, what I would never do again is, after the end of a training session, I'll say, look, put it on the dog after it's had its nap, send me a video, I'll tell you what it looks like. Or get the dog out the car so his back's not against the wall, so he has got an escape and a way to back up away from it if he wants to, and things like that. It wasn't the dog's fault, it was my fault. But again, it's a learning curve, and I think anyone getting in the dog industry will make mistakes, but it's you use those mistakes and you try to make sure that it never happens again. I always say, if you get bit, 9 times out of 10 it's because you didn't listen to the dog, or because you put your hands in the way of
literally, I'd say 9.5 times out of 10.
And as you said, obviously in your early days you make a lot of mistakes and you learn from it. I made so many mistakes when I first got into this. I could do a whole podcast on the amount of mistakes that I made, but the dog walker you are today wouldn't have been the dog walker you are last year or the year before. And I nearly did a post the other day saying that you can't judge somebody on a video you saw 5 years ago or 6 years ago or something, because everyone's constantly growing and adopting. There's videos on my YouTube that I should probably just get rid of, because that's not the way I train anymore. But yeah, you will make mistakes. And
you've got to make mistakes.
So you get better. That's how you grow.
It's the only way you can do it.
But you use those mistakes as a lesson, and as a result, I don't get bit hardly at all anymore.
Nor do I.
No, because muzzles, they're useful. Listening to the dog, useful. Leave your ego at the door, and you'll be absolutely fine. So what does a day in the life of a dog walker look like? Just give me a quick sort of sum up of
so in the morning
wake up
wake up
wake up coffee,
I meditate and all that.
Do you meditate?
Meditation's like my medicine every single day. So being now I have a solid routine in the mornings, and I get up quite early, and I meditate. And in fact, Sarah, my partner, we do it together. She doesn't drink, not because she had a problem, but she just decided this lifestyle that we live is really nice. So yeah, I have a really solid morning routine. Then I get in the van and I go and pick the dogs up. So I drive all around Milton Keynes and surrounding villages, pick up all the dogs, go to the farm, let them all out, individually so they don't bite each other. And we walk around. We actually do some meditation at lunchtime with the dogs. I chill them out because you shouldn't exercise your dog more than an hour or so at a time, especially if they're with other dogs. They're gonna get excited, and so we do about an hour, just over an hour. We chill. We do another hour. We chill, and then the dogs can do whatever they want on the farm. We've got like a clubhouse, like the cabin. They can go in there, chill out. I always leave the van open if they want to go and have a sleep, but I just keep walking as well. So, and the dogs just play, and then we pack up and I take them all home.
So how long do you have the dogs for?
I mean, some of them, I'm picking them up early morning and dropping them back off late afternoon. So it's more of a daycare kind of service.
That's what I was got in my head.
So when I first started, I did it the way that a lot of dog walkers do: go and pick up a few, walk them, drop them back, go and do another few. And really, from a business point of view, it wasn't working for me, and I didn't like taking them onto public land. So I needed to get my own secure field.
It's a big responsibility, isn't it?
It's not just the other dogs; it's the wildlife. The amount of times I've seen 10 dogs run after a deer. It's just, what am I doing this for? what? Really?
It's making you rethink sobriety.
Yeah. So I quickly realised, right, I need my own land, or I need to rent some land. So that's what I do now. And so I pick up all the dogs at once. And then some of them obviously get the ones that get picked up last, spend a bit less time with us. But it's better for me and it's better for my clients.
Yeah. It's kind of what I used to do. So I used to pick up dogs, but I used to use some of those dogs because of the training, and so they could be out the house longer for the owners that work. So I said, well, look, I've got some one-to-ones after this, so bring the dogs along with me and we can use those as stooge dogs and things like that. So the dogs would end up being out, although you're primarily only taking them out for an hour, some of them end up just being there all day and things like that. So that's really, really cool. What's your best memory as a dog walker?
Best memory? Do you know what? Yesterday was a really good day. Every day is a good day, but yesterday was just, the sun was out for the first time after a long winter. It's been like, if you want to be a dog walker, get ready for being outside every day because the dogs don't care. But yesterday the sun was out. I had a really good pack. I had the big dogs, yes, and I love the small dogs, but I love the big ones. And they were just all good. Everybody, all the dogs were calm, and we just sat down. It was just a blissful day.
I don't think people do that enough. So I preach about the art of doing nothing, which is just being in that moment with your dog. If you're out, just finding a bench, sitting down and just practicing doing nothing, you and the dog. One of the things so many dog owners struggle with these days is if they stop for any which reason, the dog's whining, the dog's restless, they can't take it to the pub, they can't stop and talk to someone, and it's because they're constantly go. The dog's constantly off the lead, running around and stuff like that. One of the things I've always practiced, because dogs are therapy, dogs are medicine, as you know, is on a walk at random times, like particularly when the sun's out, I'd used to find a little spot and we'd just sit down, get all the dogs to chill out, and you just take 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long you want, just to appreciate that we live in a pretty beautiful world. There's a lot of ugliness around, but also if you stop and look around, you can find a lot of beauty in nature. And just being in that fresh air, that nice weather, that taking that little bit of time for yourself is not only massively beneficial for your mental health, it's also massively beneficial for the dog. And that's something I used to practice, and I've never had anxiety with my dogs. Never had a dog that can't just chill out for. They all chill out just absolutely fine.
Yeah, some of them take a while, but if you just sit down and you start to relax, they will all eventually sit down, and I can get 20 dogs just to chill out together, and it's beautiful. It's incredible.
Yeah, goes back to that energy, just being nice and chilled out. Yeah, yesterday was fantastic.
Yeah,
I was getting to the point where, obviously, you're a dog walker. You've been with dogs. Weather's bad. Mud, just constantly mud and wet, right? So yesterday, I'm in my t-shirt training a dog. I was like, this is incredible. Like, yeah, it's really nice when the sun comes out because it just makes everything brighter and happier. I've asked you what your best memory is, which means, what's your worst memory as a dog walker?
As a dog walker, worst memory, I suppose, as when a dog fight actually happened. I don't mind being bitten.
Yep.
I can deal with that. But another dog got bitten by another dog, and seeing another dog in pain, I didn't like that. And in fact, I've only ever had one serious one. And again, my fault, completely my fault. I was lining them all up for a photo, because that's what I thought. That's what people want to see: dogs in a line in a photo. And then once you finish the photo, they all want to run in the same direction, and one just nipped the other, and then the other one grabbed it. And that's when I actually thought twice about continuing. The dog was absolutely fine. I took it to the vets, and it was just seeing another dog in pain. That was my worst day.
And again, for the audience watching or listening, wanting to enter the world of dogs, whether it's dog training, dog walking, doggy daycare, things like that, if you are putting dogs together, you can do everything right, and sometimes something can go wrong. When you first start, especially, you're young, you're naive, you're fresh, you're impulsive, and accidents can and inevitably will happen. When you get bit or a client's dog, for me that's the worst thing. You fucking bite me, I'm absolutely fine. But if a client was to get bit or a dog, it can plague you, and then have you questioning whether or not you should be doing this or things like that. It's tough. It's tough,
and you can have your dog. I mean, I've got some dogs that I've had from day one, 3 years, and they can have bad days. And I've got a Rottweiler, Rupert. He's like one of the
such
best
a cool
dogs.
name.
But he had an ear infection recently, which we didn't know about to begin with, and he was a bit grumpy. And so you can never know, dogs can have issues like we can have issues, and we get grumpy for reasons other people don't understand, and dogs are the same.
Very common ear infections in Rottweilers. Very common. My late Rottweiler used to suffer terribly with her ears, and then I put her on a raw food diet and it stopped all the problems. I'm not going to get into great detail about diet or anything, but yeah, I find a lot of Rottweilers suffer that. And also acid reflux is something that a lot of Rottweilers can suffer with, and signs of it is they're just randomly kind of bringing up bile. Generally they're all right in every other department. They're still eating, they're still drinking, they're still exercising, but acid reflux they can suffer with, and generally feeding them 3 or 4 smaller meals versus 1 or 2 big meals can help that. Just future reference might help someone. Of course, if you're concerned by your dog in any way, shape or form, take it to the vets first and get a medical opinion. But yeah, no, you're 100% right. If a dog's irritable, uncomfortable, in pain, and sometimes they're very good at masking it at first.
They are,
and this is why I always tell people, if your dog's suddenly displaying unwanted behaviour or something that's out of character for that dog, it is worth a vet check to make sure there isn't anything like an ear problem or something like that that's underlying that could be causing it. But yeah, dogs can have good days. You can have like a whole week of your dog being the best behaved dog in the world, and then all of a sudden at the end of it could be a twat. Your mood, what happened that day, all of that can play a part. And sometimes dogs just don't want to do it. Sometimes that dog would rather just fucking sleep. Sometimes that dog would rather just smell that thing over there than listen to what you're doing. Because they're not robots at the end of the day.
Body language. My little Oscar, he's just, sometimes he gets a bad belly because he eats all the crap the other day. I kind of struggle with him. But you can just tell when he's having an off day and he doesn't want to be around other dogs. You just got to read their body language. Yeah,
I think it's not unreasonable to expect the fact that dogs aren't going to be happy all of the time. I mean, they're better than humans.
No, that's
okay, so what's the biggest problem you encounter or did encounter as a dog walker? Obviously, if you've got your own land, you probably don't encounter many
my biggest problem initially was especially walking dogs off the lead, which that's how most dog walkers start. It's just other dogs, you're having to constantly put your dogs on the lead because you can't trust anybody else's dogs, and even the dogs that you're only looking after a few hours a week. And then wildlife as well. Wildlife's probably the main one, and roads.
I thought you was going to say weather.
Oh no, the weather, Joe. I don't mind the weather. I think if you're going to start in the dog walking industry, you need to accept that you can't. Yeah.
Because I told my trainers ages ago when they're like, "Oh, it's wet, it's raining, the class is still going on." I was like, "Yes, I used to do training classes in house stones. Like, unless the weather was actually severely dangerous, you crack on with it." I was like, "You guys are spoiled. You've got between your sessions a nice little cabin to go into that's got heating in there, it's got aircon in there, that's got freaking." You can make yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, you can have something to eat, you've got a sofa to sit on down. When I started training dogs, I was in a field pissing down with rain. If I was wet, that is it. I was wet for the rest of the day. I had nowhere to protect me other than sitting in my car while I'm waiting for the next client to turn up. Yeah, I was like, you guys have got it easy. So
I suppose, weather is a factor when it's too hot.
Oh, massively.
Like all year round, when it's raining, -5, we still go out. No, not all the dogs might not come out, but when it's over 27 degrees, that's when it gets dangerous for the dogs. So the weather actually, I have many days off in the summer. Other than
it's tough for business in the summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I imagine, obviously, if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
One of those things, and it can be quite difficult. I think when people get into this, you got to understand that you're effectively going into it, and you're going to be self-employed. So. You have to work to earn your money, and obviously you have to do that safely, and if it's too hot outside, then that can effectively take you out for a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It becomes very, very stressful.
That's why I only I book like 2 weeks off a year, because I know that I'm going to get, especially at the back end of August or maybe early September, there's going to be a week there that's going to be written off. So I just use that to my advantage. I can look at the weather forecast and see the following week's going to be hot, and I just take it easy.
What advice have you got for someone wanting to get into dog walking or doggy daycare, or just get into dogs in general?
Dog walking, this is one thing I would highly recommend, because it's something I didn't do. When I first started, I said yes to everything, because you're trying to start a business.
That old chest, that wears off.
But not just the dogs, it's where the dogs were geographically. So if you're a new dog walker, just stick to a 5-mile radius. Because I was driving half an hour that way, and before you know it, you're doing a lot more driving than what you want to do. So if you are a new dog walker, pick an area and stick to it. And be strict. If somebody even says to you, "I've got 3 dogs and they're 8 miles away," don't do it, because within 6 months you're going to be so busy it will just affect all the other dogs. So pick an area and work from it.
Perfect. Okay, so with every guest that comes on, I always do an Instagram post and see if the audience has any questions. Now, I haven't looked at that, and I must admit I was terribly late to do it this morning. I was meant to do it last night, but things just got in the way. So let's just see if the audience do have any questions, and if I can even get signal while we're down here. As usual, though, they don't always listen, and they just see the box and decide to ask dog training questions. Best harness for a large dog?
I don't use harnesses.
True story, man.
I don't even take leads. The dogs just jump in the van. We don't even.
These look like, when I praise my dog, these are not a question, but I would like to tell you that your content and books have helped a lot. Thank you so much. Why does my seat? Oh, that's actually a really good question for yourself, to be fair. So this is from an Ann_Spogan_dog trainer. Now, I don't know if I butchered her name, but as I was reading this one was actually relevant to you, and not people just trying to get some free advice from the fucking question box they've seen. Right? Do customers use you as a cheap way to train reactive dogs?
It's not
versus
cheap.
A dog trainer.
It's not, a daycare isn't cheap. And I suppose, an element of our being part of a pack will help your dog. But it takes time, and it can take 3 months. We took on a Rhodesian Ridgeback not too long ago, and it's taken them about 3 months to kind of fit in with the pack and gradually kind of building her up, building her confidence. And if you're to actually add up all the daycares, it can get quite expensive. So I think initially people think it's only going to take 1 or 2 sessions, and it's like £40 a session. But no, it does add up. So I would, if your dog is reactive, I'd highly recommend going to a dog trainer first, and then using a doggy daycare.
The thing is, if people are looking to use a dog walker, say, as a cheap way of trying to fix their dog's lead reactivity, I don't think long term it's going to work anyway, because...
Oh, no, we don't use leads.
Yeah. But, and the other thing is, obviously, a lot of the time the dog's reactive because the owner's nervous or anxious or frustrated, or the communication's too slow, or the dog doesn't have the direction, the dog doesn't understand what the lead is or what's expected of it. So this is why, if I exclude the owner, within seconds the dog will be great, but you bring them back into it, the dog's quickly. So it's it would
be fine with us and with other dogs, but when they're back in the mix, it's all undone.
Grace Anderson 100 has said, what are your views on the Springer Spaniel?
Springer Spaniels. Oh, we love a Springer Spaniel. I think they're amazing dogs, but they're working dogs. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then it's not the dog for you.
I am a big fan. I'm reading the questions as we go through. I'm trying to decipher. I should have done this earlier, but as I said, guys, we are what we are. This is Southend Dog Training. It's chaotic, but if you want,
it's the best way.
It's the best way. So yeah, I'm trying to decipher which ones are literally people, because I'll put a question box. I even did a video. Hi guys, we've got a dog walker coming on today. If you guys have got any questions for him, ask away. Now I can tell that these questions are geared towards me, because a lot of them are about dog behaviour. A lot of them are like literally asking, frustrated, excited to see other dogs. Should I be calm or more excited than other dogs? Went to an IC guy and said I shouldn't bring a dog like that. He's reactive. How can I stop my dog eating everything? I do the pull-up method and it's not work. So I'm trying to go through these and see. This one is great though. Ailey777, if I pronounce that correctly. Is doggy daycare ever a good idea?
What, as a business or?
That's all I got, mate. That's all I got.
A good idea.
Is it? I'm going to go with: is it a good idea to send your dog to doggy daycare?
I think it is, but don't expect. I think you need to still have basic. You don't expect that your dog's going to come back any better. If anything, it could come back worse if you haven't got the basic drills with your dog in the first place. If it's bad off on the lead and you take it to doggy daycare, it's probably going to be worse on the lead.
Yeah. I think also the daycare very much depends on how it's run. Because I'm always quite outspoken and think 9 out of 10 doggy daycares actually do more harm than good, because I say it's where dogs' obedience and social skills go to die. But if you are going to someone that packs the dogs together, doesn't just focus on play, but also allowing the dogs to have some downtime and decompression, and it's run by somebody that understands what they're doing, then it can be beneficial to break up the day and things like that.
Yeah, I think you need to find a balance.
Loads of questions.
You need to find a balance. I don't think it's the answer.
How do you teach a dog not to respond to a dog behind a fence? Do you have fences? Is this an issue or something you would encounter?
Yeah, we do. I'm on a farm, and the owner actually walks their dog up and down sometimes right next to our. What I do is I distract them, and if I see that person coming up with their dog, we'll go somewhere else, and I just won't allow the attention to be on them. The attention's on me and the pack, and so that's how I deal with it. If I was just to allow them all to run up and one would start barking, then they're all going to start barking because they're a pack and they're trying to protect me and themselves. So I just I take the attention away from the source.
Okay. This is quite a good one. It's not so much a question, it's more of a statement more than anything else. It's by Anne B.J. Smith. I'll put it up on the screen, but obviously some Instagram names are really hard to read. Why isn't there a test for people to have to pass to see if they're a suitable dog owner? I know, right?
Well,
I think it might make life a little bit easier.
Make life a lot easier. I think everybody deserves to have a dog. But yeah, some people can't even look after themselves.
Have you ever had to encounter this? Taking two dogs out that only are reactive when they're out together.
What, together?
Yeah, so you got two dogs from the same household, but if they go out individually, they're fine. It's when you put them together, they have that little pack mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got two Weimaranas, beautiful dogs. Take them out individually, good as gold. Together, they're just, they won't listen.
Perfect. Right, let's get back to the action. I'll put those questions up on the screen. And thank you to the ones that ask questions surrounding dog walking and not just trying to get some free advice about how to stop your dog. The questions aren't for me, they are always for the guest. But again, people just see a box, ask a question, and like, help me. Even though we have a Southend Dog Training app they can join. So, what have you got anything going on at the minute? Anything that you want to tell the audience about? Anything that you feel they should know?
Yeah, we've got a dog field starting up because I believe this is mainly for dog walkers. It's giving them a safe environment to walk their dogs. So I'm just working on getting it all kind of ready for the general public. It's up my farm, so when I'm not using it, other people can rent it. But we've got a baby on the way as well, which that wasn't planned before the dog field, so that's been put back a few months. But we should be up and running in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
And this field, whereabouts is it?
So it's an amped hill. Near Milton Keynes.
Near Milton Keynes.
Yeah, and it's what I'm trying to... I could have divided the field up into like 4 fields, but it's 5.5 acres, and we've got a kilometre track. So it's allowing people to also get some exercise as well as walking their dogs rather than going down to a basic dog field, chucking a ball for 30 minutes and then going home. You can actually get a walk in. You can meet up with friends and allow your dogs to be dogs.
Yeah. I do think, obviously, more private fields around can be massively beneficial because at the minute you find a lot of people are struggling to be able to take their dogs out because there are so many people out there that don't train their dogs anymore. Just let them off the lead, let them run around, and it makes those that are being responsible, those that are training their dogs, it makes their life more difficult. There are far too many dogs going missing, far too many dogs getting attacked, far too many dogs attacking people, far too many dog fights happening, far too many incidents surrounding dogs, and it all stems from people unclipping that lead when the dog's not ready for it. But that puts fear into people. People that have dogs, they struggle to find places to go because of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think that could be a really, really good thing.
Yeah, it's the sensible people that actually book them because that's what they want. They want a nice, safe environment for their dogs and just to know that they're not going to get, come across an untrained dog.
Yeah. How can people get in contact, follow you, see what you're up to, see what this field is about, see what you're all about?
So it's all on Instagram. I don't have a website. It's literally all on Instagram. So the Sober Dog Walker, and you'll see my handle. There's a page for the field, Amped Hill Dog Field, and all the information's on there.
Wicked. And have you got any words of wisdom for anybody that just might be struggling or might be just a bit stuck in life?
Yeah, I think if you're struggling, my message is there's a way out. And no matter how low you are, how dark you think your setting is right now, there is a way out. And I try and share my message as much as it's uncomfortable for me to have to go back to that horrible time. It just allows people to see that there is a way. other than suicide.
Yeah, a living proof.
Yeah.
Successful business.
And do something that you enjoy, because you only get one life, and if you go to work and have fun, it makes everything else a bit more enjoyable.
Wicked. Well, Dean, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you guys at home for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.